I don't think Pamela, our wonderful storyteller, needs a whole lot of introduction, especially for those of you who are here to see her in June. But we're so thrilled that she's come back to tell us some more Coast Salish stories. And I just want to let you know, she has made us some clothing, a winter reproduction outfit, and it is now downstairs in the Native People exhibit, so make sure that you stop and see that because it's just gorgeous. So,
thank you.
All right, and
Thank you.
without anything else, because you don't want to hear from me, here's Pam.
We as kedcha, Zalalakam si stas, Stahobcha, Sik Bedah Suwaklan. All you people, relatives, my name is Fighting Woman, and I'm the daughter of the Seamonster man. And I'm Snohomish. I'm also Yakima and Ho-Chunk, and I have grandmas from all over, Indian country. I'm here to share teachings. We don't really have a word for story in our language, maybe a new word, but not an old word. So we have what we call it is the teachings. And what you learn might not be the same thing as what you learn or the person across from you learns. What you take home in your hutch, in your heart, it'll be very different because we're children of the changer here in the Salish Sea. Dokoibah, the changer, Labatea, transformer. And we're different people. And so also I just want to share that our teachings or our native storytelling isn't exactly like Western storytelling where there is a beginning and a middle and an end, or a moral. I'm without morals. My hair's caught up, but okay. Anyway, so it's really, again, it's what you feel. It's the intelligence of your mind. And our people say that our mind is here in our hutch. Hutchusida. Can you guys say that? Hutchusida. That's the intelligence of your mind, and it's right here, relatives. It's right here. We don't. This is our control panel. This is what makes our eyes blink and our tongues speak and our heart beat and our lungs breathe and our feet stand underneath us. But it's not the thing that creates intelligence. It's our hutch. It's our heart. So, with that, we as children we hear a story or a teaching over and over and over again, and sometimes when we were little, we'd think, "Oh, who's in trouble? Who's getting it now? What are they?" Because an elder might say, "Hey, I want to tell you all a story." They were never going to point out the person who was getting in trouble, but you were very introspective. I have to say, you were thinking about what did you do, or what were they praising, or what were you learning, what new thing were we hearing. But as we grew older, the story was the same, but the way we felt about it and the way we thought about it changed. The story didn't so much change as we did as we grew into the story. Right? We took different lessons away the older we got. And so I always start the teachings with a particular teaching that I learned from Taksha Blue, Auntie Vi Hilbert. And so I'm going to start with it, as I always do. A tooty-too hawk, a long time ago. A long time ago when the world was new, the plants and the trees, they believed they were people. A tooty-too hawk, a long time ago. A long time ago when the world was new, the winged, all of them, they believed they were people. A tooty-too hawk, a long time ago. A long time ago when the world was new, the four-legged, they believed they were people. A tooty-too hawk, a long time ago. A long time ago when the world was new, the beings in the water, the salt water and the fresh water, they believed they were people. A tooty-too hawk, a long time ago. A long time ago, when the world was new, the human beings, they thought they were people. Just going, that's all. We come from a society that respects all life. We do that with respect, wisdom, generosity, and courage, and we try to protect life. The water, the air, the earth, and the spirit of the people. All the people, not just the human beings. All the people. A long time ago, there was 95% more flora and fauna as you look out off this porch. Imagine that. That's a lot gone. A lot is gone. But when the world was created, the Dokoiba, the changer, he had gone all around the sphere of Mother Earth, and he stopped creating right here in what's now called the Puget Sound region, here in the Salish Sea. He stopped creating. He looked around and he said, "This is perfect. I am so done." And he dumped all the languages he had left out in his pockets, out onto the land. And when the people were called out of the rocks and out of the caves and out from behind the waterfalls and out from the whoosh, out of the salt water, and when the people came, there was so many languages here. Do you know there's only 9 left alive today? About 9 languages in just this region. So there was about 60 before. So that's a lot. That's a lot. But something that had happened was that Dolkoibach, when he quit creating, he forgot to push up the sky. Or did he? Or did he? So the sky was down so low. It was so low. That sacred water, the water that came as a gift from the Blue Star Nation, was poured out onto Mother Earth from the blue stars. That first ha-ha-kos, that first sacred water that came with our sacred breath. Laughing and crying is the same word, relatives. Laughing and crying is the same word. So the Blue Star Nation had poured out the water, and ooh, the sky was really low right here. And nobody wanted to touch that water from before time. You know, they could look, when the north wind would blow, you could see some of the Star Nation up there, here and there and over there, and then the sky would blow over again and you wouldn't see them again, but they was so low nobody wanted to touch it. So everybody was hunched over all the time. Nobody was touching the sky except for the young people, and the elders didn't have to worry about it because they got to sit down next to the fire. They didn't have to stand up and walk around and do a lot of work. They were there with the young ones, taking care of them, teaching them how to be human beings. And so people, when they're in pain and they're hunched over, they kind of get grouchy with one another. Kind of like when you're in the back seat of the car on a long trip and your brother touched you, or your sister stuck her tongue out at you, or yanked your hair, or poked you and poked you and poked you until you wanted to break that finger, right? Oh, people were getting really grouchy with one another. Angry, mean, telling them, ugh, go away, be quiet, don't look at me, don't touch me. But they were still sing-song talking to the little ones. You know, we do that as human beings. We talk to our babies and we kind of have a really nice, oh, what are you doing? Hi. That sing-song talk that we do to young people. This little girl had seen that we weren't doing that to each other. She was coming to a point in her age where she was probably 5 or 6 and she was noticing attitude. She was noticing the way that people talk to one another. And so she thought maybe she should go out and try to see what she could do. If she could push up the sky, maybe people weren't be hunched over. Maybe they could talk good to one another. And so she went outside and she climbed up on a little rock. She got herself ready because, to touch that close, to touch that water from before time. Ooh, had to get ready for that. It was so sacred. Nobody wanted to touch it. And she did. She pushed. Oh, and it was spongy. But it moved. It moved. Oh, she thought. So she got down off of that rock and she went into the into the longhouse, and she scooted up next to her Sapa, her grandpa, and she whispered in his ear, her idea. She whispered her idea, and he thought, oh, that's a good idea. What a good idea. And so it is the way of our people that when a young one wants to speak, and sometimes even inside our spiritual houses, when a person on the floor who is in charge of that floor is speaking, an elder will come forward, and that person will come forward, and they'll tell the elder what they want to say, and that elder will tell the person in charge of the floor. So in this case, it was the person in charge of the village. And so this young person, he brought his granddaughter out, and he called out to the people, and he said, come here, I want to tell you something. My granddaughter has an idea. What do you think? And so he told all the village that idea. He told the village that idea. And they thought, yes, that's a great idea. What a wonderful idea. And so, then they were thinking, because, human beings are always thinking. We're thinking. And he thought, well, how are we going to tell everybody at one time what we're going to do? Because so many people speak a different language. And what word could we come up with that everybody's going to know? Everybody's going to know the word. And so that Sapa, that grandpa, he said, I know 26 languages. I'll go out and I will tell everybody the day and the time when the sun is in the sky, and we'll do this on a certain day at a certain time, and we'll all say one word, and the word will be Yahau. Can you guys say that? Yahau. All right. And so out went that Sapa, out on his journey to talk to all the people who could talk to all the other people with all the languages that Dokbegoth had poured out of his pocket. Kind of tricky, huh? Needing each other. And so, when the grandpa returned to the village, it was almost that day and that time. It would have been the next day. So everybody rested, and while he was gone, everybody had gotten all their long poles and got more poles and pulled some poles off of long houses, and everybody was getting ready. Everybody was ready. And when it came, the morning came, the daybreak star arrived, and that Sapa went out to the middle of the village. Everybody ready? And he said, Dacho, Sali, Sheu, Yahau! And everybody pushed. And the sky moved above their head. And they realized that they were standing up, and they were so happy that they were crying tears of happiness. And they were kissing and wiping tears off of each other's faces. So happy. They were standing. And they looked at each other, and they called out to one another all along, for long ways, and they said, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And so they did. So Sapa came out. Oh, this time he wasn't all bent over. Nice straight back. And he said, Dacho, Sali, Sheu, Yahau! And they all pushed up the sky again. And everybody started running up hills and up onto rocks and onto the all-alls, onto the longhouses. And they got there long poles ready. And they said, again, again. Oh, here's the third time. And they've moved up the hills, right? And out came the Stokwabu. And the Yakima came up over to the top of the ridge of the Cascade Range. Everybody was ready. Dacho, Sali, Seu, Yaha! And oh, it went up. It went up to the people of the moon and over. And the Yakima came out. They're Longhouse people too. They're also people that have teepee. And they came out and they said, Dacho, Sali, Seu, Yahoo! And they looked up into the sky. And the Star Nation came out for the first time in all of its glory. So beautiful it was. So beautiful was the Star Nation. Can you imagine not being able to take your eyes off of the Star Nation? Oh, they were glorious. They were glorious. They were beautiful. But you know, human beings, we're really bad communicators. You know, we're really bad communicators. Sometimes we miss some people. And there were two hunters and a dog chasing a herd of elk. And they got pushed up into the sky world. Some people know them today as the bear or the Big Dipper.
Oh.
The dog pointing the way to the elk. There they are. They loved it so much with the Star Nation that they stay there today. They stay. But there were some other people. Remember that the winged are people too. And they were sitting in the trees with their songs hanging out next to them on the hip. Just hanging out with their song. Hi. I love you. Telling their songs. Oh, that's my song. It's my song here. But you know, the human beings, they just whoosh. And you know, the Star Nation caught the bird songs. And they were looking down at all the birds. Ooh, that was a lot of songs. Oh, and some of those songs were so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh, and the more they listened, all the songs were beautiful. But the birds were really angry at the human beings. Because how could they just be doing stuff without letting anybody know? They're always just doing their own thing. So they had circled up, like people do. And they were talking about how they were going to get their songs back from the Star Nation. How could they do it? How could they do it? And a little bird, a little red-faced chickadee, she was like, hey, I got an idea, I got an idea, I got an idea, I got an idea, can I help, can I help, can I help, I got an idea, I got an idea. And everybody's like, hush, you're just a little bird, what are you going to do? Can't go nowhere. Shh, quiet, go over there with your other little bird friends. Huh, she was really mad. And she turned herself around and went over to the circle of all the little birds. But she still kept her ear to the circle of the bigger birds. And they were talking and talking and talking, and pretty soon Raven came out and he said, look at this. I'm pretty strong. I bet I could go talk to the Star Nation and ask them for our songs back. And the people said, oh, Raven, you'll do that? He said, well, of course I'll do that. And they said, well, fly, Raven, fly, get going. Get up there. And so Raven was really happy to take himself off into the sky. And he flew, and he flew, and he was looking at the Star Nation, and he couldn't keep his eyes off them. They were so beautiful. And he looked and he flew and he flew and he flew. And pretty soon his shoulders got really tired. He couldn't lift them. Oh, not one more time. And then he thought, well, maybe it's because I'm looking at the star people. So Raven tried to bring his head out straight, not look at the Star Nation. Oh, that got him a couple more places into the sky, but not too many. And Raven began to cry for himself because he did not want to go back down to all those people that he had just dragged himself on and tell them that he couldn't do it. So he shed some tears for himself. And then he wiped them. And he came back down to Mother Earth and back to the circle of his relatives. And he said, well, we got to think of a different idea because we can't do it. It's too far. We just can't do it. We can't do it. And Hawk went, what? And the little red-faced chickadee said, hey, I got an idea. I got an idea. Can I help? Can I help? Can I help? Can I help? And those big brothers were like, no, you're too little. Go away. Go. You can't do it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Got wings the size of butterflies. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Shoot the little girl away. She was mad at her big brother. But Hawk went, look at that. Can you imagine him saying aerodynamic and Lachute seed? Hey, look at these wings. They're sleek. And he started elbowing his brother. Hey, do you think I can get farther than you? I can get farther than you, farther than you. You couldn't get very far. I bet I can go way far. I can go farther, I can go farther, I can go farther. And he laughed at his brother. And he laughed and he laughed. And he just kept teasing him about his flubbity-dubbity wings. Oh. And Raven finally said, well, if you can do it, go. Go. Get out of here, Hawk. Go. And so Hawk smiled and he jumped into the sky. And he flew and he flew and he flew and he was watching the Star Nation. They were so beautiful. He was watching. Oh, they were glorious. And he flew, and pretty soon he flew way past his brother's spot in the sky. He was going, going, going. And then you know what? Oh, an ache started in his shoulders. And oh, an ache in his neck. And oh, maybe he should bow his head down a little bit. They were just too beautiful. Maybe if he just didn't look at him, he could lift his wings. And he flew a little bit farther, but oh, came out. Oh, he did not want to go back and tell the people that his brother was right. He especially did not want to go back and tell the people after he had teased his brother so harshly about how much better he was. He didn't want to do that. And he too cried for himself. And he wiped his tears. And he came back down to the circle of the relatives and he said, well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but, and I'm only going to say it once. Raven was right. Oh, and the little red-faced chickadee said, hey, I got an idea, got an idea, got an idea, got an idea. And they all said, hush. It's time to hush. You can't do anything, you're small. Stop. And Ilali, Siabi Lali, she came out, the mother of all the birds, and she said to her children, I wanted you to succeed. I wanted you to get them. I wanted you to get there. I wanted you to be able to bring the songs back. But now I'm going to have to go and get them. Because that's what we do, right? moms, we try to clean everything up. We try to fix it, make it better. And so everybody said, okay, you go, Squire. You go, Mama, you go. You go. And Siabi Lali jumped into the sky. And she flew. And she flew really fast. And she was watching the Star Nation. And she zoomed past the places Raven and Hawk had been in the sky. And she zoomed. And she was almost to the star world. Oh, just a little ways. But you know what? Her arms got tired. And her neck got tired. And her shoulders were tired. And she didn't think she could, do this one more time. And so she hovered and stayed in place and thought about what could she do. She just couldn't lift her arms. And as she hovered, she was sinking gravity's greatest. Just a little. She couldn't just keep going after a rest. It wasn't getting her any farther than she could stay. And she, too, began to cry. That kos, that ha-ha kos, those sacred water, those tears. And she didn't want to go and tell her children that she couldn't help them. And wants to tell her children, I can't help you. And so she went back down. Mommies are always fierce. She went back down to the circle of the relatives and she said, we have to work in another way. We have to think of a different idea. We have to think of something else that we can do. And the little red-faced chickadee said, hey, Mom, 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 hey, Mom, 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 hey, can I help, can I help, can I help? I got an idea, got an idea, got an idea, hey, 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 hey. And she said, what? What? She said, Mama, you are so big and you are so strong. You're so big and so strong. And I'm just little. I'm only little. She looked over at her brothers. I'm only little. And she said, but you know what? I don't weigh anything. I don't weigh anything. So I could sit between your shoulders. And you could fly to the Star Nation. And when you can't fly anymore, I could fly a little ways. I could fly a little ways. And I could get there. And I could fly. And I could ask the Star Nation for our songs back. I could do it. I could do it. Can I please? Can I please? Can I please? Can I help? Can I help? Can I help? Mom, 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 Mom. And she said, oh, hush. Okay. Let me rest. I always think 5 minutes of mom brain. So we lolly, Siabi lolly, she rested for a little while. And she came back out and she said, okay, my girl, let's go. And the little red-faced chickadee jumped onto her mama's back and sat between her shoulder, right behind her neck. And Siabi Lali took off into the sky, and it was the fastest that little chickadee had ever flown in her life, and her face and her hat like this. And she was smiling. And today, chickadees smile all the way to their ears. All chickadees smile all the way to their ears. And she got into the spot in the sky where her brother Raven had made it. And she turned around and looked at him. And she stuck her tongue out and smiled. Oh! And she turned back around with her mama and she waited to get to Hawk's spot. And when she reached Hawk's spot in the sky, she turned around again and said, and then she turned around with her mama and watched the Blue Star Nation as she approached all the people that their beautiful glory. Oh, her eyes got really big. Have you seen the chickadee's eyes with their really big smile and her really big eyes? Oh, there she is. And her mama, tried to go just a little farther, but it wasn't too much farther. And she said, now my girl, it's time to go. Fly, fly, chickadee, fly. And so the little red-faced chickadee jumped off of her mama and floop, 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 and landed in the star world. And the Star Nation was laughing, joyful laughter, because they watched. They watched. And the little red-faced chickadee went, because can you imagine the thundering of laughter of the stars going through your chest? She started, excuse me. And they said, we saw you. And she said, well, the humans down there, we know what you want. Our songs. Can we get them back? And they said, yeah, you can have them back. But we need something from you. We need a sacred promise. And a little red-faced chickadee said, I can't. Why? Well, I'm just a little girl, and I can't make a sacred promise for all the people. But what do you want? And they said, well, we really like listening to your songs up here with us. So we need you, if you want them back, we need you to give us a sacred promise that says that you will sing for us every morning and every night. You will sing for us. And the little chickadee thought, And she said, well, I can't promise for them because I can't. But I can promise for me. That me and my children and my children's children and my children's 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 children for all time. For all time. We'll sing for you every morning and every night. And I will instill in them, into their hutch and into their hutchusida, this sacred promise, and it will stay in their heart for all time. They will know it, and they will know that they must keep it for all time. For all time. Now I'm going to wait for that plane to fly over. Gee, joys of the Air Force Base. No. Or Navy, Okay, so for all time, and they said, deal. She went, deal. All the songs? Yep, all the songs. But you got to tell them what you did for all these songs. And she said, deal. That was a good Indian trade, eh? And so she came back down to the sphere of Mother Earth. And as she flittered down, she was very heavy with a lot of songs. And they fell out in front of her. And she had to jump out in front of the songs because all the people were like, right up on those songs, trying to grab their songs. She said, wait a minute. Wait. I have to tell you what I did to get these songs back before you take them. And they said, what did you do? I made a sacred promise, and everybody went, what? You what? And she said, honor for me. Only for me and my children's children and my children's children for all time. For all time. Me. They said, what did you promise them? That I would sing every morning and every night. And they said, that's all? That's all? We can do that. And one by one, all of the bird nation stood before the star nation and made a sacred promise to sing every morning and every night. And when that was done, oh, that little red-faced chickadee passed all the pretty songs out to the little birds first. And that's why crow says, caw. And the blue jay, kai, says, kai, 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 kai. This hoit. Yahal. Yahal. It means to push forward together. All of us together. Nothing in this life is done solely by yourself. Ever. Somebody smiled at you. Somebody hugged you. Somebody encouraged you. Something happened. And we forget as human beings because we're really terrible communicators. We're the last to arrive. Remember? First came the plants and the trees, and then came the winged, and then came the four-legged, and then the beings in the water, the salt water and the fresh water, and then the human beings. And we never remember that there were people before us. That the DNA of the flora and the fauna is older than our own on this planet. To push forward together, and I was taught that more than just pushing forward together, it means it can only be completed together. Only. That is the only way anything in this life is going to be overcome, is if everybody's pushing together. One heart, one mind, one spirit. One Natsuman. One Sali. Sali. This way. So, when we think about what we learned, right? We're back to the learning part, right? The teaching, right? We enjoy characters, right? We enjoy learning. Sometimes it touches us and makes us smile. Sometimes it touches us and gives us a tear. Sometimes it touches us, and those smiles and those tears, which are the same word, make us change, like the changer. All you children of the changer, all you children of the Dokwebath here in the Salish Sea, among the Coast Salish people, make change, children of the changer. Young, old, in between, you have the ability to create all kinds of beautiful, glorious change and chaos. No good change comes without chaos. No? Did I tell a story about a Doug fir tree?
No. Tell that one.
Okay. All right. We got it. So, a long time ago, when the world was new. Oh, and there's going to be a fire conference next month, by the way, on the 24th, up at Wicca. If anybody wants to go, I'm gonna be there with a lot of other wonderful educators about fire. But so you're getting a preview with this teaching. Okay, so a long time ago, a tootie-too-hawk, a long time ago when the world was new, the plant and the tree people, especially the berries, were looking really droopy. Really, really droopy. And Thunderbird had been out and he was hunting blackfish. And he looked down and he saw all the berries just hit. And he thought, oh, I better give those two-legged people some medicine for those plant people. Do you know what Thunderbird carries in his talons? Lightning bolts. That's how he hunts the blackfish. And so he brought the human beings some fire. And there was, now the berries really like to kind of grow in an S kind of shape underneath these trees now called Doug. There was this guy and his name was Douglas, and he really, really, really wanted this tree to be named after him. And then this guy really, really, really wanted that tree to be called a fir. But it's got a pine cone. Not quite a pine, not quite a fir, but now he's Doug. So the berry people like to grow under Doug, and they grow in this shape, and he brought the human beings fire, and he taught them how to burn down the extra and the plant people who weren't doing so well, to burn them out naturally, to get them and to control the burn, And then you know what happens when the burn's over, all the seeds pop, and the north wind comes, and you know what medicine he blows from the burn? Nitrogen! And everybody's like, yay, food! Thank you, we're gonna make you lots of berries next year, right? And so there was Thunderbird, and there was this, and there was all of these things in place, and then there's the human beings. Did I tell you we're really bad communicators? We're horrible communicators. And what happened was we didn't tell the north wind, don't come over here, please, we're gonna burn. Okay, please don't come over here. No, not over here. Please. We didn't go out and sing to the north wind. We didn't go out, pardon me, and say anything to him. And we didn't ask him nicely. And we just had the burn. Because we really needed to get down to business. Because, you know, that's what human beings like to do. Get to business. And they did. And the north wind didn't know nothing about it, and so he came blowing through. There he was, blowing, and then he saw the fire, and he went, oh, you didn't tell me. And he turned around and went back the other way. But by the time he was turning around, he had already blown so hard that the fire became out of control. And it was burning and burning and burning. And you know what? Elk. He got caught. He got caught in the fire because he didn't want to jump over there, and he didn't want to jump over there, and he didn't want to jump back there. Oh, that was a little. He didn't want to burn his tummy. He didn't want to burn his tummy. And I didn't want to burn anything else. Didn't want to burn it. And so he was running around and running around and running around in a circle. And the more he ran around in a circle, the fire just. Whew, he kept feeding it with all that air, elk air. Gee, and it was getting pretty big. And Grandmother Mouse had jumped herself into a Doug. Oh. And she was watching him. And pretty soon she got tired of watching him just be dumb. What are you doing? She yelled. Elk, come in here. Get over here with me. Come with me. Come with me. And Elk listened to his kaya. He's like, okay. And he jumped into the tree now called Douglas. He jumped into the book. He jumped into him. Now, the tree that survives forest fires more than any other tree in this region of the world is Doug. He has a really thick, dense bark. Really thick, dense bark. And when I was a kid, I had an uncle who said, I bet you can't climb that Douglas tree right there? And I looked and I thought, there's no branches. They're way up there. He said, oh, you don't need branches to get inside the Doug tree. And he was right. Because all I had to do was put my whole foot into that big tree and climb up like a rock wall. My whole arm could go almost to my elbow when I was little. And then, you know, somebody's looking out the house window yelling, what are you doing? Asking my uncle, what are you telling her to do? She's climbing a tree. Climbing the tree. Get down. Oh, I came. But you know something wonderful? The Doug fir tree, that bark is the densest bark, and it was a child's job to carry the campfire from the very first fire that ever was. To carry that fire and get a coal from the fire, put it, we gotta go find the Doug fir bark. But how do we find Doug fir bark? What? Grandmother mouse. Elk. So you know, if you find a pine cone that has Grandmother Mouse's legs and her long tail coming out, her spirit is still in that tree, telling children where to run from a fire and telling children where to get the bark to move the fire. And you know what else? Elk is there too. Because if you open up that pine cone, because you got to make double sure of everything in this life. You open up the pine cone that has Grandma's legs and long tail. You open it up, elk's hooves are inside in perfect order. So young people for all time could make sure that this is the right tree, this is the bark I need, this is where I'm going back to the village with, and this is what Kaya or Sapa, Grandma or Grandpa's going to put that coal, and I get to carry it. And when my arms get tired, my sibling or my cousin or another village child gets to come and carry that until they got to the next camp spot to pick berries and gather. So oh, she's really pretty soon. So
started early.
So I'm late.
No, you're not.
Oh, good, okay. But so this traditional ecological knowledge that is thrown into the story, into the Coast Salish people, into you, is for all time, for everyone to share, for everyone to yahoo. Have a beautiful day, relatives.
Thank you.
In August.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Ms.
that's
Delma?
correct. That's correct.
Oh, you know, thank you
I'm
very
going to be
much.
here.
We got you.